They were filled. The Lord came into them and indwelled them. There was an intimate relationship that was built. What did that reconcile? Well, first off, you could go the easy route and say, well, that reconciles in Genesis when Adam and Eve, their sin changed their relationship with the Lord, and there was a separation of relationship, which is a good answer. Good answer, Steve, but that's not the one I'm looking for today. Let's turn to Exodus chapter 20. Some of you might even know what this chapter is. It's the chapter where Moses goes up the mountain and returns with the 10 Commandments. But we're going to skip past the 10 Commandments for the moment. We'll come back to them. Trust me, they're important. But after the 10 Commandments are given out, it starts in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 18. And it says, "Now all the people saw the thunder and the flashes of lightning, and the sound of the trumpet and the mountain smoking. And the people were afraid, and they trembled, and they stood far off. And they said to Moses, 'You speak to us, and we will listen. But do not let God speak to us, or we will die.' And Moses said, 'Do not fear, for God has come to test you, that the fear of him may be before you, so that you may not sin.' But the people stood far off while Moses drew near into the thick dark cloud where God was." The day that Moses came down with the law, conveniently, is the first day of Pentecost. It's interesting. On the very first day of Pentecost, when Moses comes down with the law, there's an invitation to encounter the Lord. And people can see God is moving, just like they did on the day of Pentecost in Acts chapter 2. It says they saw the thunder and the lightning and the smoke and the dark cloud. They were afraid. And instead of running up the mountain to be with the Lord, they said, "Moses, you do the thing, and then you tell us about it." Sadly, too many people in the world today have the Israelite mindset. "Hey, pastor, you go hear from God, and we'll show up on Sunday, and you tell us what he said."
Yeah.
Hey, brother, why don't you read the Bible, and Thursday night we'll get together for Bible study, and you can tell us what it said. But in Acts chapter 2, people gather together, and when the Spirit comes, it didn't say that it started with Moses on the mountain or Peter on the mountain. There were 120 in the upper room, 12 of whom were known as, 11, because Judas had come himself. There was this whole thing about Matthias, but we're not going to get into that today. There were several apostles, and the rest were just ordinary people that had seen and believed in Jesus. What a glorious thing to see and believe in Jesus. But this time, instead of seeing the cloud of the Lord, instead of the fire coming down and being afraid and saying, "Nah, bro, you go," they all went. And when they went out. And in going out, a great multitude were added to the number of the church daily. Specifically on the first day, 3,000. I personally have never had a church service that I have been involved in where 3,000 have come to the Lord in one day. I am praying for that day. Not that, it's a chip in my shoulder if 3,000 come to the Lord, because it's the Holy Spirit that draws us to the Lord. But if heaven rejoices when one comes to Christ, how much more so when 3,000 come in a single day? And I believe that there are many right here in this city. Well, there's not many in the city of Linwood, because it's a small city. But in the greater region that we're in and around, Kansas City, Topeka, Lawrence, Linwood, Baldwin, there are many people that are still supposed to come. And there are many churches that are supposed to go out and preach the gospel.
That's right.
And the people, when they hear it, they're supposed to come running and say, "What must we do to be saved?" So the second thing that was reconciled was no longer did people run from the mountain of the Lord. Now people came running to the Lord. Moses had a sweet deal. Because clearly there was thousands upon thousands, millions even, of Israelites, and he got the Lord all to himself. They got the raw end of the stick. They did not choose wisely, but the Lord be praised, he reconciled that for us. So now we, according to Hebrews, can come boldly before the throne of grace. And I need to come boldly before the throne of grace a lot.